This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Nothing is new in Gaza, except for more shelling. The intensity may vary, increasing or decreasing, depending on the day, but the flow has been continuous, with more people martyred, injured, and displaced. On the 21st day of Israel's war on Gaza, the occupation forces announced having carried out more than 40 raids on what they described as Hamas bases and weapon caches. Today's raids were centered on the town of Khan Yunis, in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the Israeli forces deployed more troops in the area of Tell el-Hawa, southwest of Gaza City. According to Palestinian medical sources, 23 corpses were pulled from the crisis-stricken area. This raised the number of Palestinian casualties since the beginning of the offensive to 1,133 martyrs. Today's shelling is a continuation of yesterday's attacks that made forbidden targets permissible. The Israeli war machine reached the Red Cross clinics, shelling buildings and storage units run by the United Nations. Pillars of smoke rose up from these new, old targets. Meanwhile, Israel assassinated a Hamas leader, Saeed Siam. A brutal attack killed Siam along with 10 of his relatives. The bomb caused serious damage to property and ambulance cars in the area. Zuhair Saqallah reports from Gaza.
There are no words to convey what Israel is doing in Gaza, but the war scenes tell it all. Last night was one of the darkest in the neighborhood of Tell el-Hawa in southern Gaza, where people were expelled and forced to migrate. Israel negated any meaning to their lives, and all they can do is search for shelter. Even the sick laying on the beds in Al-Quds hospital got their share, but the flood of those martyred and wounded did not quench the thirst of the Israeli tanks. They continued to strike without sparing even the hospitals.
Terror and full of destruction. It's like World War III.
It is clearly a war of extermination. The Deputy Minister of War, Matan Vilnai, called it a bigger Holocaust. This was his expression. He said that they will impose on the Palestinians a bigger Holocaust than the one imposed on them by Hitler.
Children, women, and seniors left everything behind and fled in hope of saving their lives from the tyranny of the occupation. As for boys over 16 years of age, their fate is to be arrested. The humanitarian situation just keeps deteriorating, and it is not mitigated by the shelling of the UN Works and Relief Agency and the burning of their storage of aid and fuel. The crises keep piling up, and the grip keeps tightening.
Phosphorus bombs were dropped here, which caused these fires. We will continue to operate, but we've suspended operations in this particular location because we can't find the food supplies and distribute them to the remaining areas in Gaza.
Perhaps the most dramatic scene was the assassination of Hamas leader Saeed Siam, the interior minister of the ousted government. An Israeli warplane dropped a large bomb on his house, changing the landscape as it tossed dismembered body parts of those who were in the house, intermingling them with the rubble. Israel considered this to be an achievement, but it did not put out the flaming voices calling for more. With the chains of its tanks, Israel has stepped on all the red lines. To be exact, they targeted the UN headquarters and journalists and turned a blind eye to any humanitarian crisis they caused in Gaza and continue to do so. Zuhair Saqallah, Dubai TV, from the neighborhood of Tell el-Hawa, south of Gaza City.
A number of Arab leaders and presidents apologized for not attending the Arab summit. Because of their absence, a quorum could not be reached. The head of the Hamas political office, Khalid Mashal, said in a speech which he delivered at the opening of the Doha conference that everything that is happening in Gaza is harmful.
Our beloved ones in Gaza and in all of Palestine, remember what God said, they will do you no harm. The harm they inflict is physical. The most important thing is that our well-being, our souls and our minds are not harmed.
Michal also added that Hamas will not accept Israel's condition for a ceasefire and that they will continue their armed resistance until Israel stops their attacks.
With all this damage in Gaza, we will still not accept the Israeli conditions for a ceasefire. These are our free rights. In short, the resistance in Gaza has not been defeated. Yes, Gaza was really harmed, but it has not been defeated.
The Prince of Qatar, Al-Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa II, stated that the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, should have attended the summit to discuss the issues facing his people.
وكان بودنا أيضا لو حضر الرئيس الفلسطيني الأخ أبو مازن معنا اليوم.
We would have liked for the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to attend today in order to discuss the issues that his people are facing in Gaza. However, he did not attend. If we do not meet for such a pressing reason, then when will we meet and for what reasons? The important thing right now is Gaza, putting an end to the violence, withdrawing, breaking the siege, and opening the crossings.
The Secretary General of the Palestinian Authority, Al-Tayyib Abd al-Rahim, has said in response to Khalid Mashal's speech in the Doha conference that Hamas has subjected the Palestinians in Gaza to the Israeli war machine in order to serve the agenda of others.
Mr. Khalid Mishal says that we do not want to involve the Arab people in a war. He also says that we do not want to take the Arab people into a war that they're not prepared for. However, he was the one who jeopardized the lives of people who are hungry and unarmed and exposed them to the insane Israeli war machine. In his opinion, this is okay. It is even a religious duty in his belief. They are risking our blood, and this decision is not even theirs. The decision was made by internal factors to serve their agenda.
At the Doha conference, the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad asked Arab countries to boycott Israel and to shut down Israeli embassies in their countries.
We must take action. Most importantly, we must close down Israeli embassies immediately. We must also cut off any direct or indirect relations with Israel, including a boycott.
Joining us in our studio is Abdelbari Atwan, the editor of the London-based Al-Quds Al-Arabiya. Abdelbari, we heard the Syrian president say Israel is digging the graves of its sons. Yesterday, the Iranian president Ahmadinejad said the same phrase. Perhaps this shows that the Syrian and Iranian alliance has been strengthened at this stage.
يعني من الواضح أن هنا الرئيس السوري يقوم بعملية كسر عظم في اتجاهين محددين.
It is clear that the Syrian president is creating major policy changes at two different levels. First, he is ending the Syrian-Israeli peace process. He said that Syria ended the indirect peace negotiations the first day the aggression on Gaza took place.
على قطاع غزة. هذه نقطة. النقطة الثانية من الواضح جدا أيضا إنه يكسر كليا أي محاولة.
Secondly, he is completely ending all attempts to reach an understanding and coordinate efforts with the so-called moderate Arab countries, especially Egypt and Saudi Arabia. He bluntly said that the Arab peace initiative is dead and it has to be put to rest. This means that the Syrian president feels that there is an Israeli attempt to expand the war against Syria, Hezbollah and Iran in the coming months. The attack in Gaza might be the preparation for a larger attack.
في الأشهر القادمة والهجوم على غزة هو بداية لهذا التسوية.
It has been said that Olmert said to Sarkozy, today Hamas and tomorrow Hezbollah in Lebanon.
والحرص على حضور تركيا وحضور إيران.
Yes, this has become clear. The speech of the Syrian president and the presence of Iran at the summit in Doha probably paves the way for what will happen in the future. I personally heard that the Syrian president will attend the Arab summit in Kuwait, only for formalities since he is the president of the Arab League summit. He will hand over the presidency of the summit to the Kuwaiti prince and then he will leave. He will not hold any consultations or any debates with the Egyptian president Hosni Mubarak or the Saudi king Abdullah bin Abdulaziz. Perhaps he will not even shake hands with the Egyptian president and the Saudi king.
Is this in line with what Khalid Michel said? He said that he wants Arab mediation between Palestinian factions. Previously, there was a lot of talk about a primary Egyptian role in mediating the initial Palestinian talks.
It has become clear that Hamas wants to have other choices pertaining to the mediation between Hamas and Israel, as well as between Hamas and other resistance factions. For example, Hamas and resistance factions now rely on Turkey. They want Turkey to be the mediator. We heard that the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan talk about developing new ideas for mediation.
However, Erdogan said that Hamas had asked Turkey to take that role on and that Turkey will not take over other countries' roles.
This is not the case. Erdogan knows very well that Egypt is the country that borders Gaza. He does not want to cut his ties with Egypt. This is a smart diplomatic move and it is very clear. Pertaining to the Arab reconciliation, it has become clear that Hamas is betting on the rejectionist camp. They are now at the Doha conference, which was held for Gaza. Others refused to participate in the summit in Doha, which means that the countries from the other camp did not want to participate in a summit for Gaza. They insisted that talks about Gaza be only on the sidelines of the economic summit.
This is exactly what the Syrian president said. He said that the situation in Gaza deserves a bigger summit. This is an important point, and we talked about it in the beginning, but it is not enough. The resistance factions, such as Hamas, represented by Khalid Michel, and the Islamic Jihad, represented by Mishal, attended the summit in Doha, but Mahmoud Abbas was not there.
This was a huge shock for the Palestinian people in Gaza. The Palestinian president says that he represents all the Palestinians and that he is the legitimate president, but he refuses to attend a summit that was held in solidarity with Gaza. This will not be perceived well by the resistance fighters and the people in Gaza that are living under siege. They are looking for any help and any support.
Please, quickly, Abdel Bari. Mishal and Mishal attended this Arab summit in Doha, but they will not attend the summit in Kuwait. Abbas, who did not come to this summit, will attend the one in Kuwait. What does this mean?
This means that the division has deepened between the Palestinian factions. Some have chosen to be in the so-called moderates camp and will attend the summit in Kuwait, and others have chosen to be with the rejectionist camp and will attend the conference in Doha. We have to keep in mind that Abbas is not welcomed by a segment of the Kuwaiti population. 20 Kuwaiti parliament members signed a memorandum saying that the Kuwaiti government should not receive President Mahmoud Abbas at the Arab summit because he no longer represents the Palestinian people.
Three weeks into Operation Cast Lead and the focus today, an intensive worldwide diplomatic push to achieve a ceasefire, possibly within 72 hours. Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni arrived in Washington today to sign a memorandum of understanding with the U.S. that is expected to detail the ways in which the smuggling of arms into Gaza will be prevented. At the same time, Senior Defense Ministry official Amos Gilad returned to Cairo today to inform Egyptian leaders of Israel's response to their ceasefire proposal. Last night, Gilad briefed Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, Defense Minister Ehud Barak, and Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni on the Egyptian initiative. According to press reports, the plan calls for a partial IDF withdrawal from Gaza as soon as the ceasefire goes into effect and a complete withdrawal of all forces within 1 week. The crossings would be reopened under the supervision of Egyptian, European, and Turkish inspectors, and the Rafah crossing would be controlled by Palestinian Authority and international monitors until a Palestinian national consensus government is set up. Prime Minister Olmert has stated publicly that Israel insists on enduring halt to all rocket fire from Gaza and a stop to the smuggling of arms from Egypt into Gaza.
عن 30,000 لاجئ فلسطيني يعيشون في مخيم غزة الواقع إلى الشمال من
More than 30,000 Palestinian refugees live in Gaza camp, north of the Jordanian capital Amman. With family ties to the people in Gaza, the refugees here follow the bloody events minute by minute. More in the following report by Abdulillah Kuler.
مخيم غزة أحد المخيمات الفلسطينية الموجودة.
Gaza camp is one of the Palestinian refugee camps in Jordan, located north of the Jordanian capital Amman. There are about 30,000 refugees in this camp. They carry Egyptian travel documents. The families living here are connected to the people of Gaza through bloodlines or marriage. Most of the families were split between the two places. One part came here and the other stayed in Gaza, where there is destruction, killing, and assassinations. The people here learn about their families in Gaza from the news, gathering around the screen to find out the fate of a brother, sister, or a loved one.
My sister's son, my brother's sons, my brother, my daughter and her children, my cousins, all of them are there.
Our feelings are in Gaza. We ourselves are there. If a person has a relative in the middle of the fighting, what do you think he'd feel like? The people there are our cousins and nephews. It is like the connection between any person and his family. They are our own families.
People living here have tried often to telephone their families in Gaza to check on their well-being. But it's either that the phone lines are disconnected or the people in Gaza don't pick up, thinking that the call was from the Israeli army trying to find information about the location of Hamas leaders.
Protests in solidarity with Gaza are all over Lebanon.
We want to live in peace.
يحمل هؤلاء الأطفال الألعاب لتمضية أوقات فراغهم بمرح وسعادة يجدون أنفسهم.
Instead of carrying toys to play with in their free time, these little children are carrying play guns and baby dummies splattered with blood to symbolize their young brothers who are being killed by the criminal Zionist machine. The children of Burj al-Barajna refugee camp can sympathize with the people of Gaza. Even though they are refugees and far away from their home, Palestine still remains in their hearts. They're in pain from an enemy that does not consider any human needs. This enemy targets children, women, and the elderly with the ugliest methods of killing and destruction.
فيستهدف الأطفال والنساء والشيوخ بأبشع وسائل القتل والدمار. أطفال المخيم جابوا الأزقة والشوارع.
The children of the camp are in the alleyways and the streets carrying Palestinian flags and signs that implicate the vicious violent acts on Gaza. They were chanting songs that emphasize the importance of Palestinian rights.
بالحقوق الفلسطينية كاملة.
We held this protest for the children so they can learn about what is going on. Also so the Palestinian cause can always be remembered. And for these children to always remember that they have a country and a land called Palestine.
بيت الطبيب بدوره أطلق الصرخة في وجه المتخاذلين والمتآمرين.
Doctors held a strike as well because of the Zionists' violence and the crimes committed against Palestinians. They emphasized their support for the Palestinian people who are resisting the assaulting occupier.
المحتل الغاصب.
We, the Committee of Doctors, made a decision to ask every doctor to donate at least $10 for the Palestinian people. The money we collect will be used to buy some necessities for the Palestinian people, and we will find ways to deliver it.
هو فعلا جريمة تحاكم عليها محاكم دولية يفترض.
What is happening in Gaza is not a war, it is a crime. It is really a crime. The international criminal courts should hold a trial. The doctors are performing their duties.
بتصور الموضوع حتى لو صار في تسوية قد تطول مؤثراته وتداعياته وخاصة الصحية.
However, even if a political settlement were to be reached, the aftermath will continue for a very long time, especially from a health perspective. Therefore, with the cooperation of the Arab Doctors Union and Health Committee in Parliament, we need to be responsible and try to help.
The students at the National University in Beirut were not prevented by their studies to express how they feel about the Arab silence regarding what is happening in Gaza. Therefore, they were in the streets chanting about the Israeli violence in Gaza while carrying Palestinian flags and signs that show the horrific Zionist massacres. They also lay the blame on some Arab regimes that are not reacting to the extreme measures Israel has taken with their violence and crimes.
Israel's offensive on Gaza enters its third week. Demonstrators around the globe pour into the streets to condemn Israel. In the Arab world, demonstrators also protest their own governments. Are some Arab regimes conspiring with Israel against Hamas? Answers to these questions and more on Link TV's Mosaic Intelligence Report.
With the Israeli offensive on Gaza dragging into its third week, demonstrators around the globe have been pouring into the streets, expressing their outrage against Israel's indiscriminate bombardment of residential neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip. In the Arab world, demonstrators have also turned their anger towards their leaders. They have been demanding the expulsion of Israel's ambassadors from Egypt and Jordan and the opening of the borders between Egypt and Gaza. In Egypt, the largest Arab country, demonstrators carried placards demanding to stop the Gaza Holocaust and Gaza forgive us. Along with the images of bloodied children, scenes of destruction and carnage in Gaza, debates on Arab disunity have increased in the Arab media. The Arab public and opposition groups have been vocal in criticizing their own governments for not doing enough to help the people of Gaza. When Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez expelled Israel's ambassador from his country over its onslaught on Gaza, a Kuwaiti Islamist MP called for moving Arab League headquarters from Cairo to Caracas. He added that the Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez has proved that he was more Arab than some Arabs.
Cobardes, asesinos. Deberían llevar a la Corte Penal Internacional al presidente del Estado de Israel, que es el responsable directo de estos crímenes de lesa humanidad contra mujeres, niños, hombres inocentes.
Since Hezbollah emerged victorious in the Arab street in the aftermath of the Israeli war on Lebanon during the summer of 2006, so-called moderate countries such as Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan were heavily chastised for their role in criticizing Hezbollah and its leader Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah for provoking the war with Israel. Today, the same countries are being attacked for conspiring against Hamas. The crisis in Gaza has managed to divide the Arab world yet again, further widening the gap between Arab regimes and their people. Rumors have also been floating of Egyptian collusion with Israel. One circulated article claims that 2 days before Israel's invasion of Gaza, Israel's foreign minister Tzipi Livni visited Cairo and met with President Hosni Mubarak. There, Livni told Mubarak of the attack on Gaza and got Mubarak's approval for a rapid surgical operation aimed at overthrowing Hamas and clearing the way for the return of Mahmoud Abbas and his men. According to this claim, 400 members of the Palestinian Security Forces, under the command of former Palestinian National Security Advisor Mohammed Dahlan, are currently waiting to take over the Strip once Hamas is defeated. King Abdullah of Jordan has also warned that there is a conspiracy being concocted against the Palestinian people, their future, and right to establish their independent state. Conspiracy? No way. Also, Libyan leader Muammar al-Qaddafi has demanded an open door for voluntary participation of Arabs to fight beside Palestinians in Gaza. Qaddafi urged Arab countries to reactivate their common defense treaty to face the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip, saying that any Arab country victim of any aggression should be defended by all Arabs who must fight beside it, which is in accordance with the legality of international law. Right. Meanwhile, the sentiment of the Arab populace was captured in this widely circulated photo over the internet, which shows a demonstrator carrying the Palestinian flag with a message written on it in Arabic. It reads, "Your Royal Highnesses and Your Excellencies, we spit on you." By the way, did I mention that here in the United States, Arab Americans in solidarity with Gaza have been boycotting Starbucks? For the last couple of weeks, internet conspiracy theorists have been spreading a story that Starbucks is funding the Israeli attacks on Gaza. I'm Jamal Dajani for the Mosaic Intelligence Report. To learn more about this program or to share your thoughts, visit us at linktv.org/mir. You can also read my Gaza reports on the Huffington Post.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.